Get ready with me while I tell you a few facts about myself. I am currently sick, so if I sound a bit stuffy, that's why. My full name is Cheyenne Elise Burden, but I go by Shy most of the time, and I'm also getting married, so my last name is about to go from Burden to Dempsey. I was born July 29th, 2000, so that makes me a Leo. I was born in Davenport, Iowa, but then when I was 6 years old, me and my parents moved to Wynnewood, Oklahoma, which is the exact same town as Joe Exotic or the Tiger King. And yes, I knew him very well. I basically lived in Oklahoma up until I was 21 years old, and then I moved to LA. I turned 26 this year, and I'm actually about to move back to Oklahoma, which is something I never thought I would say, but I'm actually really excited to move back for a short time period and be kind of close to my family and be on my family's ranch. My parents met when they were 39 years old, and 6 months later they got married, and then 9 months later I was born, and so I'm an only child because my mom's timeline kind of ran up. So I am engaged, and honestly, Ethan and I's timeline and story is really crazy, and the full story is for another time. But basically, we met because his sister is a good friend of mine and thought we would make a perfect couple and introduced us, and then now we're engaged and going to get married. So I have 6 pets currently in LA, but on my parents' ranch in Oklahoma, I have a few horses, and when I move back, I will definitely be getting a lot more animals. My favorite color at the moment is green, and I really love like a dark hunter green, but usually my favorite color is like a light sage green. I am a super routine and schedule-oriented person. I make a to-do list for my day every single day. I have a calendar for how my week, month, year is going to look like, and I am not good with anything last minute. If one of my friends texts me like, hey, do you want to come over tomorrow or get lunch tomorrow? The answer is going to be no, because I've already planned out my entire week. I grew up riding horses and doing all different kinds of riding. I have done rodeo, western riding, trail riding, show jumping, dressage, like all of it. But I really love show jumping, and that was my passion when I was a kid, and I plan on getting back into it this year. I'm really excited. I have always loved content creating. It's always been something I've wanted to do. I think since I was 15, I really wanted to get into content creating, but I just couldn't with where I lived, and like my teachers and coaches were really strict about what you posted on social media, so I couldn't post what I wanted to. So I waited until I graduated high school to start creating content, but I've always loved it and always wanted to do it. I also have wanted to be a model ever since I was 8 years old when I first saw the Victoria's Secret fashion show, and I told my mom that's exactly what I'm going to do when I get older. And then when I turned 19, I got signed to my first modeling agency, and a lot of people were telling me that in order to book jobs, you need to post on social media. So that kind of is how I got into posting social media all the time. My first job was I was a waitress at a barbecue restaurant in my hometown, and I loved that job. It's still like one of my favorite jobs I've ever had. And then I also was a lifeguard at the public pool in my hometown. And then when I went to college, I was basically like a tutor and helped in the library. I worked in the library, I helped stack the books, and like I would help people if they needed tutoring and stuff like that. I also worked at B-Dubs as a waitress. I walked dogs whenever I could, and at one point, only for like a month, I worked at CVS. That was the worst job I've ever had. I hated that. I'm a huge reader. I love reading. I mainly like to read fantasy books, but for a really long time, the only thing I read was self-help books. But I hate audiobooks. I need the voice in my head to be reading it. I don't need someone else's voice or how they're saying things that are on the page. I need it to be exactly how I imagine it. So I hate audiobooks, and I do really like podcasts, and I think I might start my own podcast, but maybe, who knows. I also really love cooking or really doing anything in the kitchen, baking, whatever it is, and I have gotten so much better at cooking over the past year. and I love cooking and being in the kitchen. I have always loved being really independent, and when I was young, I couldn't wait to have a job. I used to daydream and fantasize and play pretend about having a job and going to work every single day. And I've always been obsessed with working. Okay, this makeup for today is done.